Great.
Good morning, everyone. I call this meeting to order for the Corporation of the Township of Portsmouth, July 15th, 2026. Start with roll call. Councilor Scholes. Present. Ms. Bailey.
Here.
Ms. Hurst.
Present.
And Mr. Goyner.
Present.
Begin our moment of reflection. That concludes our moment of reflection. Starts with the confirmation of the agenda, please.
That council approves the July 15th, 2026 agenda and then as stipulated, and that council approves the addition to the agenda as follows. It's on item 6.1.5, questions received from council seeking additional information and the corresponding responses provided by staff regarding the July 15th, 2026 council agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Hurst. Any questions or comments? In favor? It's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests today? Mr. Goyner.
Item 9.4.4, which is the zoning bylaw amendment update for D14-UK. This application is being submitted in part by my employer, and as such, I have a pecuniary interest in decisions that relate to this application and will not participate in discussions and decisions relating to this matter.
Thank you. Commissioner Schickel. All right, any other? All right, next item is our first delegation, I believe, and I'll invite Paul, then bring the table, please. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Morning to you, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Councillors and staff. In January of 23, the Wellington OPP made a report it stated several black cat studies that have been done in respect to traffic management in most of Wellington County, of which there were 4 studies done in the year of 22 in Portsmouth, 1 being on Gore Road, 2 being on Rock Road North-South, and 1 being on Victoria Road South. At that time, Victoria Road South recorded 23,747 cars in a 10-day period, of which the report states that 85 percentile was greater than 75 kilometers an hour in a posted 60. And living in that section, the speeds of the cars that are over 75 kilometers an hour, in my opinion, are extremely excessive. We live 300, 400 meters from the corner, and at a 60 kilometer an hour speed, it takes 24 seconds for a car to get from the stoplight at 34 to be in front of our house. And we've been timing cars at less than 10 seconds, some definitely less than 12, but quite commonly 2 or 3 an hour that are going by in 9 to 10 seconds. That means they're going double the speed limit. And I know the report only states the 85th percentile is 75 kilometers an hour and above. There's no statement as to how fast those cars are actually going. People are passing cars in front of our house on a section where there's 2 very distinct hills that really block the view of what's the driveways beyond, and especially Gilmore Road. It's quite common to be stopped at Gilmore Road trying to get onto Victoria Road, and cars coming over the hill southbound are coming in. By the time you can look one way and look the other, there's another car coming. And if you start to go out into Victoria Road, it's my opinion that there's going to be an accident there someday, if not on somebody's driveway in those 2 hilly sections. So what I'm asking is whether there's anything that can be done to at least improve the speed limit signs, and especially if Victoria Road north of 34 is going to be considered to be dropped to a 60 posted rather than an 80. That's going to make our section much bigger and much more important as the start of that traffic zone. There's only 2 signs basically that says 60 starts. And I think that if other sections in the township are being considered for the electronic speed control sign that states what the speed of your car is and whether you're exceeding it or not would be extremely helpful. Because I don't think a lot of the cars know or recognize that the speed has changed because they've driven on an unposted 80 for quite a substantial period coming south and north to get to that zone. And another thing the report states is that in the 5-year period coming up to 2022, there were 129 accidents in that section. That's 25 per year or 2 per month in that section of the road. And our residents on our section are quite commonly walking on the road with their children. Bicycles are quite common. There's a very common cycling route for people from going up and down Victoria Road to be out of the city area. So it's just, I think, a very dangerous situation. I'd like to know if there's anything that council can suggest that we do to improve the enforcement of the speed in this section.
Good, thank you, Paul. Mr. Wilson.
I don't have any questions of the, I do have a question of the staff. With respect to the speed that, we did it to speed, report, to all the roads, in the township. That particular area, what is the speed recommended in the report?
So through the chair, our clerk has that information ready.
Yes. So through you, Mr. Chair, so the section that I'm speaking about is currently posted 60 and is recommended to remain 60. The remainder of Victoria Road South is currently unposted 80, but the majority is recommended to be reposted at 60.
So in terms of reposting that to 60, what would be the closest to the?
So through the chair, there is a survey that council has asked us to put out to residents on roads when their road is up for reconstruction, to get that feedback as to whether they agree or disagree with the recommended speed limit reductions as noted in the speed management study. So I believe that survey has gone out as this section is up for 2027 deliberations. So as part of the budget process, staff bring back a report around roads that are proposed for reconstruction. And part of that is going to be the feedback that we received from the folks that live on that road related to speed. So that will be coming back through the 2027 budget deliberations. In addition, if there's a section of road that is receiving sort of a larger volume of complaints, we'll also talk about those roads, even if they're not up for reconstruction. And council can decide what they'd like to do. But again, that's around the speed reduction. There may be some mitigation tools, knowing that enforcement is solely resting with you.
That's 27 type of thing, so I guess I'll leave it for the mayor to talk to when we're on the table and have somebody in case for your county commissions.
Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul, for coming today. I know this has been on the we've had conversations for a number of years. I'm glad you brought up the collision history because I think that's a pretty valid, not only valid but important part of what the Black Cat study reported. I'm just wondering if our Public Works director can speak to the construction of the road there and maybe the construction cycle. So my understanding is that it's a double lift there and the roads might not be coming up for reconstruction as soon as, say, some of our other roads that are wanting some mitigation happening.
Through the chair, the last time Victoria Road South was reconstructed was approximately about 8 years ago. The section between the Dufferin Pit and County Road 34 is the only section that is double lifted for the gravel truck traffic. The rest is single lift. In staying with the policies of examining roads and speed limits, once reconstruction is done, it is estimated that probably the next time it is slated for reconstruction would be 2035, I believe. So it would have to be council's decision to expedite any changes that would want to occur soon. Other than that, it would be the mid 2030s until this would be recommended.
Okay, thank you. So in light of hearing that, I don't think we want to be waiting till 2030 to be deciding whether we need to be putting in extra signs or doing some sort of mitigation. So I just like to put forward that council consider this section of road a priority for some of our radar signs in the 2027 budget.
Councilor Hurst.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I appreciate your delegation. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of questions. I'm supportive of previous counselor comments. I think I'd look for staff to come back with some recommendations as to what can be done in the interim versus the, changes that would be anticipated through repaving, which are probably not realistic in the short term. So yeah, I'll leave it to staff to come back with some ideas and recommendations. Thanks.
Ms. Britt.
Thanks for bringing the concern forward. I too, wanted to suggest, I know that we have through our budget annually, we're looking to purchase more of the electronic radar speed signs. I'm not sure if we're keeping sort of like a list of priority areas to get them, but as council building, and I'd like to include that list of upcoming considerations. I wasn't sure if, we received sort of monthly, a report from the OPP about, enhanced enforcement areas that they have identified, and I'm not sure if staff know if that portion of Victoria Road has been on one of those recent reports. And I don't necessarily need an answer right now, but I'm just wondering if that's something that we could specifically request from the OPP. And the third thing was, I was just wondering, again, I'm not sure the process of the black cats and maybe you can talk to this, but I'm just wondering if we can get some updated black cat data for that section of road in terms of vehicle counts, speeds, and maybe some recent collision data as well.
So through the chair, we can make those requests of the OPP. The black cats, we don't currently have any, so we can purchase them, but they do have the ability to monitor and track a number of different things. But there may be an opportunity in past scenarios to share in terms of acquiring some black cats for the township.
So I drive that road regularly. There's a lot of volume. There's speeding everywhere. This isn't gonna be a popular statement, but everybody's gonna want flashing signs on their roads. There's one delegation for Victoria Road, we'll get one for concession 1 and 2. So I think this council has to prepare to just put these flashing signs absolutely everywhere, because everybody's going to want them. I think where it needs to start as a society, we as a collectively need to start driving slow, not where we live, where other people live, because speeding is a chronic problem across the province, and it's probably the #1 complaint that we hear. So with that being said, typically when the OPP are data driven. When they do their black cat study, if the road section they put the black cat on meets the criteria that you're saying here, the 85th percentile, or over, I'm not sure if I'm there, then that triggers that section of road shall get enhanced enforcement. If the 85th percentile is 15 kilometers an hour or lower, then it doesn't trigger the enhanced enforcement. So my question to the OPP would be that after this study, was there enhanced enforcement? Now, this is a little bit dated, so it could have happened a week, a month later. The enhanced enforcement isn't continuous. It's just a prescribed amount of time that they decide. Also, we collectively as Wellington County taxpayers pay $7 million for enhancements to the OPP contract for traffic officers. Part of that contract allows the OPP to redeploy those officers as they require, which is fair. And then we get to say they redeploy them 50% to other chasing bad guys. And then they reimburse us half of that money, so $3.5 million. I'm just making up numbers. So one concern I have is I would prefer to have the officers, doing traffic for their entire prescribed time. We don't have that control over the equipment. So something that I continue to mention at the county level. I want accountability for this $7 million. It's more important for us as a community that's paying for this to have that service versus only getting half the service, even though we're only paying for half the service at the end of the day. We still want $7 million worth of policing. Second part of the conversation, Black Hats. When they were first proposed, the OPP proposed 3, I believe. I was very much championing to get 7. My thought process was to essentially have 1 per member municipality. And they've been a great asset to the OPP. Fast forward to, a couple months ago, I've heard that for them it's challenging to allocate staff, probably literally our traffic officers, to go and mount these things and set them up. They could be doing, I would call it, better things. And there's discussion about downloading those Black Hats to municipalities. So I had a conversation with Chair of Police Services Board, and I said, we'll take it. Fortunately, it's not that easy. And the police service report is, one of the attachment commander's report is in the consent agenda items. And I'm going to ask that the OPP come and speak to us about their speeding enforcement as of late. So I've had some preliminary discussions with staff, but I would feel the council would be, not worse than most, but I think we'd be supportive of receiving that Black Hat from the OPP. Yes, it'll be, I won't say burden, but it would take staff away from other tasks to go and put it out. But these traffic counts, and then if we can, either we create some sort of list of roads to target, whether it be from combination of residential complaints, traffic volumes, the whole speed, those types of things, and we get the data, then we can push it out to the OPP and say, here it is, and ask for that extra enforcement. I don't have another quote, but it escapes me right at this moment. So anyways, we're going to be engaging with, I believe, Justina, is the OPP attending next month?
Yes, the meeting chair was to be attending the August 26th.
So we'll talk a little bit more about it that's what I was going to say. So in the detachment planners report, I'll go back last term. Former reports would show total tickets issued, and I'm actually not an advocate for tickets. I would consider a warning and a ticket achieving the same result. If you get pulled over and a police officer gives you a warning, it's achieved that result, and oops, it's a slower zone. So I don't necessarily advocate for tickets. So I value both of them. So let's just assume that in the report that tickets were warnings as well. And there was this very, very steady, steep decline over many, many years. And not only myself, other Wellington County councillors were highlighting our concerns with that to the OPP. A lot of things are going on, COVID, whatever. In this report, you'll see that the amount of tickets has increased in a couple of them. It's around 30% from last year. So I want the OPP to come in August just to speak to where they've been doing this extra report, because I've seen it by my house. I live in Morrison on the 50-kilometer-an-hour zone.
Yes.
And I've seen the officers there quite frequently. And I'm sure there's other, and Joe got caught, so he knows that. He was nodding yes. So and that's not the only place. I feel other members of council have identified they've seen more of a presence, which is great. Okay. So I feel there's some positives to come from information to come from the OPP to say, we've been out there, I'm not wanting to know what officer, what shift, what hour, what car, what, what I mean? But generally speaking, they're very protective of where their officers are, and rightfully so. But there was a Wellington Advertiser article about a blitz they did. There's something like 300 tickets. All this is great information for the public to hear, because it might give you some assurance that that trend is going up. We're seeing more policing, and we'll do our part to try to highlight roads that need that extra enhancement. However, it does have to be data driven. And then lastly, I guess, I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge, but for the 2027 budget, council is going to be considering purchasing our Black Hats. Now that was prior to knowing that we might get one from the OPP, but I'm looking forward to those discussions. They're a great tool. So a lot I've kind of thrown at you there, but doesn't help your speeding immediately, but definitely look forward to discussions about signage. And I will say though, we can post at 10. And without the enforcement, it's really very difficult, right? So
I make one comment. I think the ones that flash the speed are more effective than just more posting signs, because it gives you an actual speed of how fast they're going. And I think that's very helpful me particularly, I've just been told, as opposed to I just drove by a sign and didn't see it.
yeah. So they're expensive.
Yeah, I
I
don't
we
know
had
that.
2 in the budget last year. So
Just
imagine,
maybe requesting maybe one gets put in the budget for our section.
So-
Future.
I have a crystal ball.
Oh.
And you come and delegate and want it, it's gonna be $10,000 for your section of road. We're going to have a lineup of people. It's going to be difficult for us to choose which roads. I feel that staff need to
And that's data
have a
driven.
process. Because everybody's gonna want, the speeding is so bad everywhere, fortunately. But I'm not against it, I'm just saying, we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on the signs. It will take some time. We will commit to adding them to sections of road through a proper process, or which should involve public engagement. And in the meantime, we'll still advocate for that extra enforcement and try to get some source speeds on your road.
And one other just minor comment, obviously Guelph is expanding. And Victoria Road on the east side of Guelph is a major commuter road. And if developments such as the one at Stone Road and Victoria, which is proposing 4,500 houses go in, that equates to more than 10,000 cars that could start using Victoria Road. So as Guelph expands, well, I think we need to be aware of what the impact's gonna be on Fuslinch. I know that Gore Road is heavily burdened by, whenever the 401 slows down, the Gore Road to the Campbellville Road becomes a major thoroughfare. I'm sure they have the same issues.
I think that section of the heavy truck route, so this region of the road is probably appropriate for that traffic. The Gore Road on the other side is partially our responsibility, partially Hamilton and North Dumfries. That one is a similar situation to your road. It's a local road and people are using it as a commuter road. The traffic is unreal. Unfortunately, we're nestled between these urban centers and it's a problem. Half joking, but stop signs everywhere. So we always stop signs everywhere, but then we get pushback from the residents. They don't want, so I think Victoria would be served well by having more stop signs on it to try to steer that traffic to Brock or to the Hen. But it's not a popular topic, right? So,
And there's no intersections. Basically,
there's
just
Green Lane.
but when you go from Malton
Oh,
all the way
south
down
there.
to 36, there's only one or two intersections.
But if you start persuading traffic to go somewhere else at Malton, then they don't come down as far as.
Then
So then you
have
start
lots of-
upstream a little further. So there's options,
Okay.
but we'll try and the OPP should be here next or August. And, I'll have them, hopefully they will speak to the extra enforcement they've been doing and, we'll try to get that black cat from them hopefully as quickly as we can, and then we can get it deployed, get some data, and, I wouldn't be opposed to deploying it on Victoria roads out there initially. Anyways, all up for discussion. Anything further, councillors? Sorry.
Just
you very
a question. The delegate mentioned the size of the current signs that are there. Is there opportunity for, without a lot of cost or any cost, to just increase the 60 signs that currently exist, or can we put in a request for that? And then just being clear that the cycle of this road being redeveloped is not typical of, say, Gore Road. So we don't want to be missing the opportunity and waiting till 2030. Just wanted to make sure that was captured.
So through the chair, signage would come with a cost, but we can incorporate that into the budget deliberations when we include this road segment for speed mitigation deliberations.
Okay, I just know on Leslie Road, we increased the size of the sign without waiting for budget time.
So through the chair, I would say, given that the section north of 34, that we've done the survey work for speed reduction, we're gonna be talking about this sort of area through budget deliberations, so it could be part of that discussion this year.
That's why I was hoping that part of it.
But I just want to be careful about ad hoc improvements, each time we have a concern on a section of the road, it's
Well,
going to
this has
quickly
been
get out of control.
Going back since 2022, so it's not just a current issue.
And it's all roads, but I think
Yeah.
we need to have a process and try to stick to that as best we can, because it is a major concern everywhere, unfortunately. Excellent, but. Okay, well, thank you very much. Today, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Then do you have a recommendation, Justin?
That councilors seek the delegation for information and that council directs staff to report back on additional speed mitigation efforts that can be taken on this section of road during the 2027 budget deliberations to the township sewer management plan established process. And that council directs staff to inquire with OPP if this section of Victoria Road is listed as OPP as a road section receiving enhanced enforcement.
Councilor Hurst, Councilor Bailey, any response? On favor? It's carried. Is it you up next? No cheat sheet, no. Cheat sheet, come on down here. Welcome, nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Good go. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Seeley, members of council, staff. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hugh Handy and I'm a land use planner and vice president at GSB Group. And I'm here on behalf of the applicant, the Badger team and the Earl family, who's in the audience. Frank, our client, is behind me. The family and as well GHD team is here, Fred and Amelia, who are also part of our technical team. I want to, I'm here obviously in relation to the matter on Wellington Road 34 for the zoning bylaw amendment application for temporary use. We'd like to thank staff and your consulting team for working with us through this process and in relation to the report that's in front of you today. And the recommendations were in support of the report. And thank Joe, Mr. Nethery, specifically in relation to working with us through the process. I think there's some matters in relation to an amended report related to the date of the actual temporary use being enacted today in 3 years, which is part of your amended agenda or amended staff report. There was also size of the office and maintenance building that was referenced as square feet rather than square meters. And I believe Mr. Nethery is going to address that in his report, as well as there are plural swale and ponds rather than singular swale and ponds. So I know as it reaches the bylaw, that's the most critical thing. The staff report will be the staff report, but the bylaw that you're passing, want to make sure that that is dealt with, and I understand it will be through the due course of your meeting. There are checks and balances in this approval. Council is not walking away, or staff is not walking away, and we're not walking away. This will be the removal of the license related to where the Badger operation will be. That is one of the checks. There's site plan approval that will come as part of that as well. And then a lifting of the H. So there are processes within there that we, again, are checks and balances, and I think those are appropriate and we're supportive of that. So we look for your support today of this application, and we'd be happy to answer any questions either now or if appropriate through the review of the report.
All right, thanks, Hugh. Thank you. Any questions?
Sorry, what is our process for today? Is there other opportunity to be?
We'll deal with the report after our closed, we have the fire report, full session, and then we'll deal with the.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Hugh. I'll reserve my questions for later. Thanks.
I heard you say you're supportive of the checks and balances and what's proposed in the zoning bylaw, which is the holding position. Just a quick question. It's temporary zoning, obviously, that applies for it. What's the intent and I believe there was some articulation from the client that, after 3 years, you would wind down operations. Is that still the intent or?
Well, I guess we're taking it 3 years at a time, in terms of the process. We realized in the planning act that that's what it is. We'll see how this first part goes. Our intention, I think, long term is to find another location, but we believe, and through our planning report, that there is a balance to rehabilitating the site through this operation. So
You foresee rehabilitating the site taking longer than 3 years? Is that what you're proposing?
potentially it could take longer. But I said, again, this is in council's hands. I would respectfully think that this is a process that is appropriate. And again, it allows for that check and balance.
The vehicles, in the report, it indicates 25 trucks. I believe it includes the number of employees. I would make the statement that each vehicle requires 2 employees to operate. Is that a fair statement?
It's not, we've got, sorry, dependent, I mean, we've got some trucks that are operating with.
Would you like Frank to come up to be picked up on the mic?
Come down.
Frank, can you just come down just so you're picked up on the mic?
Yeah. We've got some units that are operated with single operators and some have double operators. It all really all depends on the jobs.
What proportion of units leaving the yard have 2 operators in them versus 1?
I would say, probably half and half, 50%.
How many support employees do you require to keep a fleet of 25 vacuum trucks running? So mechanics.
How many supports?
Who supports that?
Other stuff.
You have a fleet of 25 trucks. You're proposing that the maintenance be done.
Support staff of 5.
So you have 5 mechanics working?
No, support staff meaning admin and office.
So 25% of your trucks are 1 operator, or sorry, 50% of your trucks are 1 operator, 50% are 2.
Mhm.
How many mechanics?
That varies. It's not, I mean, those aren't, it really all depends on which jobs trucks are going out on and such and so forth. So some days it may be 30-70, some days it may be, it really all depends on the day.
It's probably a safe assumption that 2 operators per vehicle, from my perspective. How many mechanics would you employ?
We've got 2 guys in the shop.
2 guys, do they have a supervisor?
Yes, yeah.
The supervisor, okay, and then you have support staff, I would assume payroll, secretary, those types of positions.
There's 5 people,
So 5 additional people.
including myself.
Okay, is there anybody that works the yard? I mean, there's gonna be a screening plant of some sort and there's a loader operator.
We've got we don't have any full-time yard staff as of yet.
So when operations, if operations commence, then you would, you said as of yet, so you would require.
We
loader
would
operation when you're operating.
require one person in the yard
1
on a
person.
part-time basis.
I think that's all I have, so I need some clarity on that, because when I worked in the industry, it was 2 people per vehicle every day.
Yeah, and if you look at the industry now as opposed to what it was 20 years ago, it's significantly changed. Most hydrovac operators or outfits are running single operators.
Well, that's all, I think that's all I have for. So, thank you very much. So just a reminder that we have that fire report, then closed, and I would suspect 30 minutes for close, guessing, I'm not sure the fire report, I don't think it should take too long, sure. So yeah, 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's fine.
we'll just close the door and.
No, we do all that, we'll kick you out, don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
But just,
We'll close the door, I mean, to the boardroom.
no,
Okay,
all right, we just close this door.
Okay.
That just gives you an idea of,
Okay.
if you were to leave and you don't come back in 30 minutes, you're gonna miss it. Okay, so will we recommendations? Mover, please, Councilor Gladys, Councilor Stevens, thank you. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
Fire chief.
John, sorry. Chief Chan, are you able to hear me?
I am, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great, thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I'm just here to present the first quarter fire report for Portsmouth Fire and Rescue Service. If any questions, I'd be happy to answer it through the chair.
All right, we have recommendations.
That report FIN 2026-003 entitled Portsmouth Fire and Rescue Services 2026 Q1 report be received for action.
Can I get a move, please? Mr. Lewis, Mr. Hurst, any questions or comments for the chief? Mr. Lewis?
Yes, it's a good report. It really opens up the curtain, so to speak, to see all the activities you are involved with and the staffing associated with each accident, and keep it up. It's very good. Look forward to future reports.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's been a great buy-in on this side, and like I said, it's things are going very well. So I appreciate everyone's support.
Ms. Bailey?
Yeah, thanks for the quarterly report. It's nice to just have that more updated than our yearly one. Just a question to help educate me. Can you just explain the difference between the incoming alarm source to me that's in the report? It talks about 911, ambulance, and civilian calls.
It's just basically how we receive the call. So if it's a 911 call that comes through Guelph Dispatch, sometimes we'll get direct reporting as well. We'll initiate our own call to respond. So I mean, when we put it into our ERS system, it's just how we disseminate how that information is received to us and why we're going to the call and where it's coming from.
Okay, so how does the civilian call work? Because a civilian isn't calling you directly, are they?
Not typically, but on occasion they will, particularly for the burning complaints. Sometimes they will call or they'll come by the station and ask us to come out and have a look because their neighbor is burning or the burning is down the road. So, I mean, obviously we'll respond, usually not emerge, just to explain the bylaw to the individual that is burning. And we have to initiate a report to be able to document, obviously, hours and the fact that we did respond.
Right. Okay, thanks for that clarity.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. I think really the only question I had, and again, I'd echo my colleagues' feedback. I think it's real. I appreciate the content in the report. I think it's quite robust, and the fact that it's a quarterly report versus an annual report, I think is interesting. I think my one observation was just the fire marquee recoveries. It's good to see, we had a lengthy discussion with your predecessor probably well over a year ago around engaging that, and it's encouraging to see that there are some fees being recovered through that process. So just wanted to make note that was certainly noticed in the report, and I appreciate that the administrative burden of doing that isn't probably a fun thing to do from an administration standpoint, but certainly it's appreciated. So I'll leave it at that. Really good report. Thank you. And maybe just my last comment, excellent events on this past Saturday. I'm sure we'll talk about it later in the meeting, but certainly exceeded anything I thought was achievable there. So well done to your team.
Appreciate that. Thank you. It's just, I think we got a total of over $7,000 now for a donation. So, I mean, things went phenomenal. So it was great. Thank you.
And I would like to echo Councillor Hurst's comment. I know it's not part of this report, but I did just want to recognize the fire department for the tremendous amount of work and success that went into the event on the weekend. I apologize that I wasn't able to be there, but I did see photos and heard wonderful feedbacks. Thank you to the entire department. In terms of the report, I just had one question. It shows a trend of being overall calls being down for the quarter. But motor vehicle collision is still the sort of like the number one thing. And I was just wondering, other than the 401, are there any sort of sections of road that are generating like a disproportionate amount of calls over others? Obviously, with the exception of the 401.
It seems to vary. I mean, we've been all spread out fairly thin all over the township in the last, well, this whole year, but in the last since the first quarter, it's been expedited exponentially. It's come up quite a bit, and it's all over the place. There's no single area. It's just it's countywide and township wide that we're responding to for MV season. Some of them have been fairly serious as well. So it's there's no rhyme or reason for it. Time, day and night, day, rain, doesn't matter. It's seems to be a trend that's not a great trend. So unfortunately.
And you may not know this, but those motor vehicle collisions that are happening throughout the township, is there any sort of trend as to in terms of like, is it distracted driving? Is it speeding? Is there anything that you would know that would be contributing to those motor vehicle collisions?
It's hard to say. It's probably inattentive, and the speed is a factor because there is substantial damage when we show up on scene to 1, 2, or 3 vehicles. So, I mean, speed is obviously a factor, but I just think that distracted driving, whether it's not paying attention or on their phones or reaching for a coffee, it's hard to say. I mean, that no one will tell us the truth anyway when we get there, but there is damage and quite a bit of damage when we do arrive.
Okay, thank you. Very good report.
Thank you.
All right, Chief. Well, thanks for the report. I don't believe we've acknowledged the chief as the official chief. You were doing the interim role, so congratulations on being the successful candidate to be chief of the Roussill's Fire Department. Appreciate you taking on this endeavor. You're doing a wonderful job for a while. Great event on Saturday. I know I was able to make a quick appearance. I would say though, maybe next year we got to take into consideration maybe the layout change. There's a lot of parking on 34, both sides of the road, people walking across there. Nothing happened. It's all good, but I would suggest either liaison with the administration side over here so that we can get in touch with the county. Maybe we can utilize the county yard. Being summer and a weekend, I would hope they don't have use for their facility. Either use it for parking or displaying and just try to get a few more of those cars off 34. But it was very, very well attended. I was quite impressed. So thanks for doing that for our community. It's amazing, you know, fire open house, it draws out the people and gets them over here. So thanks again for doing that.
I appreciate that. That was actually one of the learning outcomes. We'll discuss that tonight. We have a meeting tonight, training night as well. But that is one of the outcomes that learning outcome that we've decided that parking is going to be an issue if moving forward. So
yeah, and if you need a contact, well, I'm sure you'll figure out. I'm pretty certain the county was supportive of us utilizing their facility over there in whatever way you need it. And so yeah, thanks again.
Perfect. Right. Thank you.
We read the recommendation already? Great. All right, so all in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Brotherson, you have us going into close, please.
Council shall go into closed session under section 239 of the municipal act for the purpose of a confidential report regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting municipality or the board, and that's in relation to a potential OLT matter. Confidential report regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting municipality or the board, that's in accordance with section 314C of the township's filing complaint policy. And a confidential report regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and that's in relation to a human resource.
Gonna move that, please. Mr. Ryan. Mr. Bailey. Sure. On favor. It's carried. All right, welcome back. Ms. Brotherson, you have some recommendations coming out of closed.
That council moves into open session at 1 p.m.
May I have a mover, please? Councilor Lewis, Councilor Correa, for seconder. Thank you. All in favor? It's carried. Next.
That council receives the following reports for information: a confidential report regarding litigation of litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. That's in relation to a potential OLT matter. Confidential report regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. That was in relation to, in accordance with section 314C of Township's File Complaint Policy, and a confidential report regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, in relation to a human resources matter, and that staff proceed as directed.
Over seconder, Councilor Hurst, Councilor Bailey. Favor? Carried. Next on our agenda is item 941, and I welcome back Joe. Stan, the floor is yours, Joe. Are you presenting? No? Just for the,
If there's any specific
Sure.
questions or anything like that, but the report does detail the recommendations for that.
in the interest of the public, okay. Can you just give maybe a high level summary of what you feel is appropriate?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the prompting. The application that is in question is for a temporary use bylaw. This would permit, amongst other matters, a hydrovac operation, liquid soils processing, and accessory uses onto the site itself. As detailed in the planning report, I'm coming to you today to suggest that the application is consistent with the provincial policy, the provincial planning statement 2024. It would be consistent with the County of Wellington official plan, based upon the route that the applicant is taking, and that is with respect to a temporary use permission. So we do have language in policy 13.4 of the county official plan that does state that a temporary use can be considered for uses otherwise prohibited by the plan, provided a series of individual criteria are met. Echoing on Mr. Handy's delegation to council prior to closed session, the applicant has worked through 3 sets of technical circulations with us, and has worked to provide answers to the questions that have been raised by the technical review team on the assignment. Doesn't necessarily mean that every single question has been answered. The point is to address those threshold and particular matters. The use of a holding provision, which is part of the recommendation from the view, is the venue and the opportunity for those technical items to be addressed. Meaning that as a part of the recommendation, site plan control would be required for this use. As we go through that process, we are going to be requesting that some of the technical studies that have been produced be updated to reflect the ultimate layout of the plan itself. That we are getting detailed design drawings of the proposed evaporation and treatment system signed by a professional engineer, so we can ensure that those items have been appropriately addressed and factored for. The township would be reliant on Mr. Dan Hood and the remainder of the technical review team to provide that support and expertise back. The temporary use bylaw is proposed. So one of the amendments in the bylaw that was proposed, the temporary use permission is time limited to 3 years from the date of passage of the original bylaw itself. So should council ultimately choose to do that today, that one change would be that the lapsing date is July 15th of 2029. You've also heard I'm framing a request for clarification from Mr. Haney and his delegation with respect to pluralizing the ponds and the swales, which is absolutely fine and I believe is taken care of in the final version of the instrument that's in front of you today. Ms. Brotherston covering for me there. Yes, great. So all of this to say, I think we've worked through a particular process that allows those big question Wellington County official plan items to be addressed. I believe my report is pretty clear and succinct on this in terms of that I think the county official plan enables this application to be considered, or this proposal rather, to be considered in a venue in a format that's some version of non-traditional, non-typical, or otherwise wouldn't be normally considered. I think the county official plan provides an opportunity to allow this to be considered. I believe that the proponent, it's my professional opinion that the proponent has provided the answers that satisfies those questions and ultimately informs the recommendation that I have to put in front of you today.
Great, that's well done, especially off the front. All right, Ms. Brothers, can you read the recommendation, please?
That report, COR 2026-035, entitled zoning bylaw amendment application recommendation report 6676 to 6678 Wellington Road 54 be received. And whereas the township and its expert consultants are satisfied with the application to amend the zoning of the property municipally known as 6676 6678 Wellington Road 34 through their comprehensive review of submission materials, therefore be it resolved that council approves the temporary zoning bylaw amendment for the property municipally known as 6676 6678 Wellington Road 34. That council give 3 readings to bylaw 2026-047 as amended, being a bylaw to temporarily amend bylaw 2023-018 as amended, being the bylaw of the township of West Lynch for a 3-year period in accordance with the Planning Act 1990, commencing on July 15th, 2026, and expiring July 15th, 2029.
You can move that, please. Councilor Suppose, Councilor Harris, are any questions or comments?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I don't feel confident we would win this at the OLT. I'm comforted by the fact that we have our consultants and Denholm will be ensuring that the necessary environmental safeguards are in place. I also am comforted by the fact this is going to be only a 3-year pilot project. So accordingly, I reluctantly support the staff recommendation.
It's really.
Thank you. I was going to ask a question, but I think instead I'm just going to do a statement. In the public meetings that we had, there was a lot of questions around communication with neighbors. And I think the applicant had said that, yes, there would be, the ability to respond to different neighboring concerns. So my suggestion, or I'm hoping that in the site plan control, there'll be some sort of built-in complaint policy, but maybe can staff just speak to where that happens or how that gets kind of stipulated in the site plan control?
So through the chair, we've seen that on a number of other properties. Or through the agreement, we do develop a complaint protocol, and that could be part of the site plan control process.
Okay, so I would like to see that moving forward. Hopefully there's a way that if neighbors have any concerns with this temporary use, that there's a way to the applicant.
Harris?
I think all my questions have been satisfied through the consultants and staff. Nothing from you.
That's good.
Same, I don't find questions addressed. Thank you.
The statement that I feel is, I'm going to read, I feel is the opinion of the council. So as council considers this application, council is reflecting on the statements that Badger has made throughout this process. You've repeatedly described yourself as a responsible corporate citizen, a trustworthy business, and a good steward of the land. You've also stated that the purpose of this application is to provide sufficient time to complete aggregate rehabilitation activities before ultimately ceasing operations at this site. Council previously considered and refused a similar application from you in March 2023, for which you filed an appeal at the OLT. Following that decision, Township invested significant time and resources preparing for the OLT appeal process, only for the property owner to withdraw the appeal shortly before the hearing. Statements were made to the township by Badger that if the township did not want your operation here, you would leave. Even after those statements, Badger proceeded to obtain an ECA from the MECP and returned with this temporary use application. In many respects, this application represents an opportunity for Badger to demonstrate that it is a trustworthy and responsible community partner it claims to be. If council chooses to approve this temporary zoning bylaw amendment, it is with the understanding that the use is exactly that, temporary. The public, council, and the township are being asked to place their trust in the comments that have been made by the property owner. Our expectation is straightforward. If this amendment is approved, temporary use will conclude at the end of the approved term. Rehabilitation activities will be completed, and the property will transition in accordance with the commitments that have been presented to council and the public. Council doesn't want to find itself sitting here in 3 years considering an application to extend this use or being asked to support what effectively becomes a permanent operation through successive temporary applications to extend. The integrity of the planning process depends on all parties honoring the commitments they make and the statements they make to the public. Council and the public are entitled to rely on the understanding that what is being approved today is a temporary use with a defined end date. I sincerely hope that this application be approved, Badger demonstrate through its actions that it is the responsible and trustworthy community member that it has represented itself to be. I'd appreciate the clerk including these remarks, in the official record for the application. I think that's, additional remark. Joe, in your report, you indicate, the official plan permits us to do some wording. Questions to CAO, but I'll look at you for now. I would like to address that, and I guess, sorry, CAO, what would be the best method to review or have council consider some sort of review of the county OP to identify, we could maybe say problematic language or vague language, or so that we don't run into possible situations like this in the future?
So through the chair, what I would say is that through this application, we were able to identify that there was some language in the OP that exists that enables this type of use that otherwise would have been prohibited. So I do think that the best way forward is for staff to work with our consulting planner and report back on an approach to work with the county to see that remedied.
Do we need that captured in the recommendation, or just
I
as
think that
direction?
can, through the chair, be reported back on separately, yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have the recommendation read, correct? And over to seconder, any last comments? Thank you, all in favor? Scary. Raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right, next. Yes, bingo. All right. Thank you. You. All right, next is item 9.4.2. Thank you. You're there. Thanks, Dan. Hey, Doug, good. How are you? Bounce. Joe, thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you all.
Remember, you're on
Enjoy your
camera.
meeting.
Sure. All right. For two, Jeremy Train is up next. Is he available, or should we do consents? Go behind schedule. Oh. I thought we're on 9:14. Oh, okay, sorry. Everyone printed one except you, which is where we should.
Okay.
But he's here in the.
No, he's right online.
Oh, sorry, I was waiting from the long one. Looking at the door. I apologize. Sorry, Jeremy, I didn't see you.
Okay, okay.
Your next report is 9:42. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Does it?
Good afternoon to Mr. Mayor and member of council. My name is Jeremy Tran from NPG Planning Solutions. We are the township planning consultant for the zoning bylaw amendment applications D14-BAR at 6759 Lair Road West. After reviewing the application and the submission materials, we are satisfied that the zoning bylaw amendment application meets the Planning Act requirements, is consistent with the provincial planning statement, and conform with the County of Wellington official plan. And therefore, we recommend to council to approve the application and the bylaw as presented.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Preston, you want to read the recommendation, please?
Report COR 2026-036 entitled zoning bylaw.
Actually, I'm gonna pause you. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation included in your package? And so, Ms. Preston, read that link for your work. Councilor, first. Any questions for Jeremy or Ms. Preston, please? We are running behind. We're a couple hours behind, so. All right, sorry, questions?
All good.
No question, okay, all in favor? That's carried. 943 is the next item we're going to discuss, and it's yours as well, Jeremy. Or no, Monica. Am I wrong? Yeah, Monica. Oh. Oh, sorry.
You're right, there's the.
In the agenda package, it says Monica, but on my cheat sheet, it says Jeremy. So sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
Hi, to Mr. Mayor and member of council. We have reviewed the zoning bylaw amendment application to lift the holding provisions at 4 Brock Road. We are satisfied that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement confirmed with the county official plan and has met the requirements to remove the holding provisions, and therefore we recommend to council to approve the application and the bylaw as presented.
Thank you. So I move a second for that recommendation. Councillor Bailey, Councillor Hurst, any questions? No, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now I believe we're going back to regular order of business, which is consents. So I'll have Ms. Brooks read that recommendation, please.
Council receives the consent agenda items for the July 15th, council meeting for introduction.
Move for that, please. Councillor Goida, Councillor Spillis. Any items to be removed? Councillor Spillis.
613, 614, and 619.
Okay. Councillor Bailey, any?
No, sorry, 19 was to get the last one?
Yes.
Okay. Nope, none from me.
13, 14.
617, please, Mr. Mayor. The OPP report.
Yep.
20.
All right, so all in favor of receiving the balance of those, please? It's carried. Councillor Spillis, you're up. 613.
613, this is kind of would be basically raising concerns that the Ontario Land Tribunal is overturning decisions that the local municipalities have made, type of thing, and asking for a review of the process, basically questioning why when something's gone through the public process, it's overturned with little thought at the Ontario Land Tribunal. So asking to support the town of Whitby's decision.
Councillor Spillis moved that. Second by Councillor Bailey. Any questions or comments on that one? All in favor? It's carried. 614.
This is our fellow municipality, Central Wellington. They're reviewing our road salt management programs, and the intent is to try to reduce the amount of salt, which we all know affects our water table and the quality of water eventually. And they're asking the province to look at ways to reduce the salt, at the same time reduce the liability that the municipalities would have on salt reduction.
All right, let's move by Councillor Spillis, second by Councillor. Go ahead. Sure. Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor? It's carried.
619 has to do with the doubling of Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. And there is a motion proposed in that particular package. The only suggestion I have on that motion, it stresses infrastructure for housing. I'd like to take out the 2 words associated with housing, just say for local infrastructure. In other words, we don't have the situation as some of these big cities are, where they have good infrastructure, sewers, water, that type of thing for housing, whereas ours is we have a big problem with maintaining our infrastructure, given the size of the municipality and the funding that we have raised to our taxes.
Okay, did staff prepare a motion for that? Yes. Question Q&A, there was one there.
Yes, so through the chair, we would send a very similar motion just with the exclusion of the word housing and just leave it as in like enabling infrastructure.
Moved by Councillor Spillis, second by Councillor Hurst. Questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried. Wait, Councillor Bailey, did you have 617 or was that? Oh no, that was Councillor Hurst's mine. Go ahead, Councillor Hurst.
Yeah, very briefly, just within the OPP report. Again, really good report. I guess my request last year, they within the I'll call it their summer activities, they did a commercial vehicle inspection or a truck inspection, and hearing that we may have an in-person delegation from the OPP at our next meeting. I'd certainly encourage them to continue with commercial vehicle truck inspections over the course of the summer, early fall, within the township. I think a lot of the reports that we've seen province-wide have been the non-compliance rate amongst those inspections is quite high. And due to the sheer volume of commercial trucking we have in the municipality, I think it would be well served for the OPP to continue a monitoring program in our municipality. So that was really my comments on that.
Any other comments? No, I was gonna request some be pulled out as well. I didn't realize they were gonna be coming here in August. I wanted to discuss. I'd heard that the possibility of us receiving a black cat from them as they're find it pretty intensive, labor intensive to redeploy the units. So it looks like they might be looking for some multi-agency cooperation where we maybe deploy them and provide the data, which I think is great. I feel that this council would likely support receiving something like that. As we hear, we had a deputy today speak about and speeding concerns. Also in the report, it talks about or you can see the numbers of increase traffic tickets or warnings. I think it'd be nice to have the public hear from the OPP their additional efforts towards the speeding concerns we're hearing, because the data is showing here they're doing more. And then also like you to give them a heads up, either Adam CEO or whomever and staff, that I'd like to know if they're able to break down the amount of calls per municipality, and just even for the traffic, to say how many of those were issued just in Whistler generically. I don't need to know the officer, the date or the time or anything like that. But I'd like a little bit more data on the policing in Whistler. I do see here these unfounded calls. Maybe just an explanation of what they can and cannot say for those. There's 27 last year. It's unfounded, just out of curiosity's sake. So black cats. As we heard about the enhanced enforcement, if there's any plan for Whistler, mostly around traffic. So that's all I have. I'm gonna get a seconder, right? No, they get a seconder for that. Just a Bailey. Any other questions? All in favor? It's carried. 6:20.
That was me. So this is the survey that is currently live on Engage with Lynch regarding the recreation and parks master plan. So I personally wanted to pull this out just to draw attention to it for the public. And secondly, I just wanted to inquire with staff. The survey is currently set to close July 24th. And it just seems like a pretty small window of time to be gathering feedback, which will ultimately be shaping the recreation plan for the next 10 years. And I'm just concerned that the window is too small to properly get public engagement, which I think is the most important input into this plan. And I'm just wondering if there's any opportunity to extend it so that we maybe can push it out through the next tax bill mail out. And I apologize that I'm putting you on the spot. It's a question.
So through the chair, there's just a couple things to take note of. So we are working on a fairly tight timeline for the rec master plan. Sorry,
Sorry, Chair, I have an idea. So the open house will be taking place after. And so we could include that in the newsletter as an opportunity, as a secondary public engagement opportunity in addition to the survey.
Okay.
Yes, and so I think there are a couple other touch points that are pretty key as well, in addition to the public survey, which I know we've gotten quite a bit of feedback on already. We've had people that's been pretty active. So we have had our stakeholder engagement meetings where we're getting that direct feedback from user groups. We've been able to obtain through the survey. We will have a public meeting open house. So there's quite a few touch points. I know we put up signage at the actual park so that folks can actually do the QR code and log in. It does come down to just some constraints around the timeline, where the consultants do need this information to help build the plan. But I do think, even with that being said, we are seeing quite a bit of good engagement.
That's good detail. And unfortunately, the newsletter can essentially under us.
When does the tax bills mail out go out?
So I do believe that they're mail, we prepare them to send them to the printer, like they've gone to the printer
Yeah,
already. I believe they're mailed out in August.
okay.
Is it, will they need the one page insert in here just about the open house stuff like that? I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. I just want to make sure. I would hate after it's all said and done for members of the public to be coming forward saying, if I had known that this was happening, I would have given my input. I just want to make sure that the public knows this is happening.
How much on our social media has been being pushed out?
We are doing all of those different things and we were at the fire open house as well. We had,
Okay,
I
good.
think we saw about 500 people come through the fire open house. We actually had our consultant there with a table and a board where she was seeking that feedback and that. So I think we are hitting those touch points. The mail out, it's kind of come and gone at this point. But even with that said, I think public engagement is challenging even under the best circumstances. But we are hitting all of our different platforms. Yeah.
So
Can I just ask, is there a note in the West Pioneer about it?
Through the chair, there isn't,
So
and there isn't an August issue. So we could put something in the September issue about the open house. Like
Well,
this
the
is
Pioneer
September
does
16th
their
open house.
online, they do an online issue.
And I could also reach out and inquire, we sent a media release out last Friday, if they would pick that up and push it through as well. Sometimes they'll do that on our behalf.
Just maybe a suggestion, I know occasionally they will do a separate blast out on a pertinent topic that just goes out to their, like, I get the email.
It's into your inbox.
That's me, yeah, that's
effective.
maybe a
Yeah.
tactic that you could follow up with Aunt Dale, and I'm sure they would do that. That'll hit. I think she said it goes to like 900 residents in the, something, like it was a big number, just a suggestion.
Just that people are away.
Through the chair, as a side note, we were almost at 50 online survey responses. To compare the strategic plan, I think we got about 100. So we're halfway to what one of our better engagements has looked like. So I think people are actively contributing.
there's enough for
We just
information.
need a second right on here. That's
Councilor Godin, Councilor Hurst. Any other questions? All in favor? It's carried. Great. Public meeting, July 15th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Public information meeting held in person at the municipal office, 7404 Wellington Road 34. By electronic participation through Zoom regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14-MCC. Chrome 4539 Victoria Road South.
Tonight.
We did this 6, oh, that's Badger, the 1, 942 is done, right? All right, same file. Brock Road is done, right, number 43. Oh, this is 944, this one, Councilor Goy, is that?
Yes. Yep.
All right, 944, everybody. Should we get off? Okay, is Monica presenting or?
Ta-da.
Hello.
And
Good afternoon. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of this report is to provide a progress report update for the zoning bylaw amendment application for the property municipally known as Concession 10, Part Lot 7 to 9. This application was initially submitted in 2006 and was revived in 2025. Given the significant period of time that has elapsed since the application was originally submitted to the township and following its reactivation, staff determined that it would be appropriate to provide council with this progress report for information prior to commencing to the public consultation process. This is a procedural step which will allow township staff and consultants to begin their technical review of the application. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Monica. So there's a recommendation in the report. I'll ask for a seconder, Councilor Hurst, Councilor Lewis, any questions for Monica?
I don't think I have any.
I don't.
All in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Monica. Are you here for the next one too? Carry on.
And thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of this report, 9.4.5, D14 SNI, is to seek council's direction to deem the zoning bylaw amendment application for the property municipally known as 339 Downey Road complete. This is a procedural step which will allow township staff and consultants to begin their technical review of the application. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So the recommendations in the report, can you move in a second there, please? Councilor Willis, Councilor Goda, any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Keep on trucking.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of this report, 9.4.6 D14 PPL lift holding, is to seek council's direction to deem the lift holding zoning bylaw amendment application for the property municipally known as Concession 7 Front Part Lot 26 and 27, also known as McLean Road West and 401 complete. The purpose of the holding provision 7 is to prohibit development until an appropriate development agreement has been entered into, covering such matters as street improvements and related financial contributions. The development agreement is currently in process. This is a procedural step which will allow township staff to circulate a notice of intent to lift holding to neighboring properties within 120 meters in accordance with section 8 of the OREG 545/06 of the Planning Act. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Recommendations in the report, can you move a second, please? Councilor Willis, Councilor Bailey, any questions?
Just for comment, I have some questions that were answered and staff will be addressing.
Okay. Any further? All in favor? It's carried. All right. Cool. I think that's it for you. So there's one more.
I'm back after the next one, so.
Why don't we just skip that and we'll go to the next one? So we're gonna go 948.
Great. The purpose of this report is to seek council's direction to deem a zoning bylaw amendment application for the property municipally known as Concession 7, Front Part Lots 26 and 27, also known as McLean Road West and 401 complete. This application seeks to rezone a portion of the lands from industrial site specific provision 83 and natural environment to industrial H7 industrial site specific provision and natural environment to prevent accessory retail uses and expanded permissions related to outdoor storage. This is a procedural step which allow township staff and consultants to begin their technical review of this application. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Okay, move a seconder for it. Councilor Bailey, Councilor Hurst. Any questions? Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to pull out a comment just to highlight it in there, but it just says the site is not subject to the rural employment area design guidelines yet to be enforced by OPA 131. However, given the site's proximity to the area of interest, the guidelines will be considered as the design of the proposed development advances. And I liked that comment, and I hope that maybe the proponent, I don't know if in discussions, we can encourage them to, you know, be looking at those design guidelines and maybe implementing some of that.
All there. Carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna go back to 947, correct?
Yeah.
No, just me, is that you?
So for you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of this report is to seek council's authorization to proceed with stopping up, closing and declaring city as a part of the small road allowance as shown in Schedule H of the report, and to enter into an agreement to provide an easement over part of the closed portion of the road allowance. By granting the easement, it will allow access to a property that would otherwise be landlocked. I'm happy to answer questions.
Recommendations in the report, can you move, please? Suppose, Councilor Hurst. Any questions or comments? Okay. Carried. 40 out from council.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of this report is to provide council with updates regarding additional information that council sought as it related to the OPA decision and mineral aggregate resources policies of the PPS, as well as questions that were raised by council regarding the annual aggregate monitoring reports, and then answer questions.
There's a recommendation there, so can you move, please? Suppose, Councilor Goida. Any questions for? All in favor? Carried. All right. Leave on correspondence. Emergency Conservation Authority, okay, number second for that, please. Councilor Schools, Councilor Hurst, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. 10.2, can I get a mover second to that for information, please? Councilor Goyna, Councilor Hurst, thank you. This is the minor site plan amendment. Any comments or questions?
Just a question, are we consulted at all with any of these restorations that are occurring on ARA lands?
So through the chair, it depends on the act, and on their policy documents as to when a amendment to a license actually triggers public consultation. And I would say sometimes that policy is difficult to interpret as it's not always followed to the letter, has been our experience, but yeah, so I guess sometimes we're consulted, and sometimes we're not, just based on those thresholds.
All right, any further questions? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. 10.3. Oh, yes, any member secondary to receive this, please? Suppose Councilor Bailey, questions or comments? Councilor Bailey?
Just a question, I just thinking of it now on the fly, so I haven't a lot of questions, a lot of thought into it, but with this new mapping, does staff know if roads are classified in the mapping? Like, will it actually say county road, township road, gravel road? Like, can we put in the different levels of road?
You, Mr. Chair, so in the current mapping, they do highlight county roads as blue, but I don't think there's necessarily further classification. I'm not aware if it's intended to carry that forward mapping. But that's certainly something opposed to the stuff.
And I'm just curious, and is there communication? Are they looking for things that maybe the municipality would like in the mapping, or is there ever engagement that way?
Don't believe they're changing the criteria that they're mapping. They're just changing the software that provides the mapping.
Yeah.
So I think it's a cut and paste of what they have essentially. It's not adding township roads, or it's just a new software.
I just wondered if the updated technology gave more ability to do detail like that.
So through the chair, we have been able to add layers, like our own municipal layers. So for example, for heritage and for different things, we could look at, I think a really useful tool would be even the MMS class of a road, because that links to maintenance standards around plowing and pothole repair and things like that, which we do have a page on our website for. You can kind of go back to the county and ask for and get cost estimates for what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the problem you're trying to fix? So you just want it to be like a spot where people can realize which one's the county road, which one's the township roads, or?
A little bit about that,
Yeah.
yeah. Have some ulterior
Okay.
motives as well, but. Yeah, just more clarity. Like, I've gone to the GIS mapping stuff before, and I've had to reach out to Justine to help me navigate it. So anyway, I'm hoping that maybe by modernizing it, it will be a little more user friendly.
Okay. Do I have an over second to receive that information?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor? It's carried. Well, Courtney and I are going to Erin. Some point. September. Do we have another one booked that we're doing? Just Erin so far.
We have a couple other inquiries, I believe.
Here is, we're talking about taproll and gravel, so will be fun. And that's gonna be facetious. No, what, is there anything really we've been working on that, I think so.
Through the chair, EMO is coming up. We did receive one successful delegation so far with MMAH.
The second one.
And MECP, so we will have a couple delegations, which is great news. And then, of course, the Tatmall AGM is scheduled at the EMO conference as well, which is mid-August.
I continue to work on the planning advisory committee for the development of rehabilitation standards for above the water table gravel pits. Ran into a bit of a speed bump, more one of the pits I wanted advocating for to be included in the study. They were running the study, kept excluding it, giving a reasoning why it was excluded, and the last excuse was, the pit operator won't provide the site plans and rehabilitation plans, and I sent 2 emails, and Crystal and France connected us with the right people, and then Menard was going to provide all that. Sounds like it was too late, so I'm pretty disappointed in that, but we're still, I think we meet once every couple of months on that. So they're gonna come to Tatmo and present, as far as they've come so far, I believe the final iteration is due in March 2027. So that's been kind of interesting working away at that. Look forward to the results. Tatmo meetings. I think that's what, so. Okay, number second for that, please. Just Lewis, and that's good. In favor. Council member reports.
I was just gonna reiterate the Parks Master Plan, so the rec. Name for the rec committee and the youth committee had a joint workshop to do the Parks Master Plan. I thought it was really great. I thought the youth had great engagement with it. I think it's a great format to start off, to kick off the project. So.
Great. Good. Any other?
We want to talk about the weekend, fire
Oh, yeah.
departments.
I wonder if that's one announcement, but now it's fine too. Whichever you like.
Well, there was a great event there. Showed the destruction of a brand new Volvo, so that was interesting.
Thank you. Well, I think firefighters like to do for sure is wreck stuff.
Yeah.
Cut up houses, cut up cars. Yeah, it's good. A lot of people attended, right?
Yeah, I was there from 10 to a bit after 11. There's quite a few people in there, and
Yeah. Must have just missed you.
Courtney was there with her day, so.
It was good. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to get home. It's the
Oh, yeah.
401 was jammed up, so
Yeah.
I experienced the chaos of that.
Oh, me too. I was coming back from Cambridge. I left here, went to Cambridge, finished my son's baseball tournament, and it was chaos everywhere. So,
They ran out of, well, they gave out over 300 burgers and they ran out. So that was really good attendance.
Yeah. Whether we can put an official thank you to the fire department, the chief, I guess, appreciating for this event was enjoyed by a lot of people, including council members.
sure.
And it was really nice to see that they were providing proceeds to Sunrise as part of their
Right.
fundraising. So we had a Sunrise board meeting on Monday, and it was certainly acknowledged at that table as well. So that exceeded my expectations. There was just a boatload of people.
Yeah. Those at the army there, the hydro, and all shooting match. It's really good. I got there about 11:30, so just an hour as well, so it's good. Anything further? Okay, I'm gonna move for a second. Unless I heard, let's all in favor. That's carried. Bylaws, that's your reading ready?
Yeah, so just in advance of reading the resolution, just please be advised that with bylaw 2026-047, it is being amended to clarify the square footage of the building in meters rather than square feet, and the reference to counted drainage swales in the plural, not the singular. So that the following bylaws be taken as read 3 times and finally passed over the council. Bylaw 2026-047 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 023-18 being the zoning bylaw of Township of Whistler as amended. Bylaw 2026-048 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 023-18 being the zoning bylaw of the Township of Whistler. And bylaw 2026-049 being the bylaw to amend bylaw 02318 being the zoning bylaw of the Township of Whistler. Bylaw 2026-050 being a bylaw to stop up, propose and declare surplus parts 1, 2, and 3 of Artland 61R23241 of pin 71192-0088 LT. Bylaw 2026-051 being a bylaw to authorize the entering into of an easement agreement over a portion of township lands described as part 2 of land 61R23241 Township of Whistler, part pin 71192-0088 LT. And bylaw 2026-052 being a bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief and repeal bylaws 2026-016 and 2025-048.
Can I get a mover for that, please? Councilor Harris, Councilor Bailey, any questions? Favor? Carried. Any announcements today? Anyone hearing the band? Aaron.
Aaron
Foley.
Mhm.
Congratulations on becoming our deputy fire chief. Let's go. There's no public events coming up, or we have all the Parks Master Plan, we already talked about that. Let's see. Closed session is done. Any business arising from the closed session? No. Stop. Councilor Goida, your notice of motion.
Thank you. So I don't know, do you want me to read this full notice of motion or is there for you to read?
No, I don't think that's necessarily.
I thought I would-
Councilor will.
I thought I would just give a little bit of background information. Just over the last several years, I've been hearing a lot of concerns about the intersection. Concerns about traffic, near misses, vehicles not stopping at the stop signs, and people trying to cross roads safely. I've witnessed a lot of those issues myself, including several collisions right within the intersection. And even though my own kids are now young teenagers, I still don't feel comfortable allowing them to cross at that intersection. So I have them cross further down the road where they can better judge and see the traffic. And I'm not sure if council is aware that the bike shop that is on the corner of Arkle Road and Watson Road has just in the past month expanded their business to a second location at the commercial garage directly across the street, which has now incurred even more pedestrian crossing back and forth between those two locations, which is a great story, economic development story, I think, for our community. But I just want to clarify that this motion isn't asking for any particular solution. It's just asking the county to take a fresh look at the intersection, review the current conditions, and determine whether there are any opportunities to improve the safety around it. So a motion is there for you to read through, and happy to answer any questions.
I'm good. It's very well written motion. It's certainly pretty interesting to see what the outcome of the study is.
Great.
Just one question. So we saw some communication from the community group. How is that being pushed forward to the county for consideration? Is it something the township puts forward, or is that just going directly from the community group?
Sorry, I was thinking about something. I apologize.
Oh, good. Maybe you can speak to that.
I wasn't sure.
So I would say on that there has been there was a community meeting at the church last Sunday, I believe. I wasn't in attendance, so I am not exactly sure the agenda that was discussed there. I do believe that the group is intending to submit some comments to council. I'm sure we've all received sort of individual emails from various members of that group, but nothing has really officially come through, at least that I'm aware of. So I think in terms of that communication, it would be best if they submitted it through either a written delegation or an oral delegation for this council to receive in a public format, and then see how we can push that through to the county. I'm not sure if I'm speaking out of turn there.
Through the chair, that's exactly right. So that communication was passed along to the individual that submitted it. In addition, we do track information that comes in through our roads management process when we're looking at speed mitigation efforts. We kind of talked about that earlier in the meeting when we had the delegate with Victoria Road and what that process looks like. So there is a process in place, as you pointed out, Councillor Goida, that is a public process that's documented through our formal, through the process that the municipal act stipulates that we do. If it's a delegation or material that's going to be in front of council, where council needs to make that decision and vote on it. So we do have that process in place. And information can come in and it can be tracked on both of those ways. That's fair. We do also make sure that we're communicating if something isn't within our jurisdiction. So for instance, if it's a county road, that they do have to reach out to the county. We can often help facilitate that if need be.
Perfect. That's the direction I was looking for. Thank you.
Great, yeah, sorry, I was thinking about some amendment to this, and it's just minor, but. The basis of it is that the request is to report back on the study. My concern is if this request goes to the roads committee and they just receive it for information, they're not gonna report back because there is no study, so I wonder if staff could amend it that the county report back whether the request is adopted. As well as the, you know what I mean, and then if the study is at both, so if they opt to decline this, then they publicly report back saying we're not gonna study that intersection, or what likely is gonna happen is there's a process through their roads master action plan that they've identified intersections, there'll be a process to ask them, but anyhow, I just don't want it to be received for information, we just don't receive it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's asking for them to report back with the findings, but I guess that's assuming they're going to be.
Yeah, and what if they don't? So you can kind of speak to that a little bit.
Just updated it, yeah.
Okay.
Could we ask that be done publicly? In other words, they come here and present.
Report back through a presentation
Yeah, sure.
to Facilities Council.
Maybe part of that presentation could include, you know, like for not just this, but for any future asks, like what is the correct process to work with the county on like safety studies or any other study that we would want to have.
And I think we can ask them, the 50-kilometer-an-hour boulevard signs just appeared in Aberfoyle. And I know they were in Morriston on a trial and they were removed because they were hit so often and they're expensive to replace. All of a sudden they pop back up and we're not really
In the loop.
in the loop knowing, so if they could come speak to us about some of the speed mitigations they're implementing, how they're coming to those conclusions and how, you know, we have other roads that we may desire, what do you want from us? So just so there's more substance to their presentation than just saying, oh, okay, we're gonna study your intersection. You know what I mean? So. But those ones,
Discussion, right?
yeah. Those ones in Aberfoyle, they're in pretty good shape, they've not been run over very much, like the ones on Bad.
Yeah. On Oracle Road.
They are on our road
Yeah.
and on the county portion of Watson.
Yeah.
This is, I don't know, the second.
Last I heard, there was $400 or $500 a pop to replace them. Okay. Then move it second, well, movers cancer go ahead for sure. It's a first. Any further questions? All in favor? It's carried. Any new business? Purgatory bylaw, Ms. Carson.
Let the following bylaw be taken as read 3 times and finally passed it up in council, bylaw 2026-053, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council for the corporation of the township of Passage at its meeting held on the 15th day of July 2026.
Mover, please, Councilor Bailey, Councilor Hurst, all in favor? And adjourned.
That council hereby adjourns at 1:53 p.m.
Moved by Councilor Lewis, Councilor Bailey, thank
Yep.
you, in favor? Thank you, everyone. Good day today.